quite like that quote, my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive. And to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humour, and some style. That's Maya Angelou. And that in application to our Black communities is actually what really drives me. Black Thrive exists to build race equity into systems change and to find ways, any which way, with people power, i.e. the people that make up the Black African and Black Caribbean communities, leading what those changes need to be in order to ensure that Black communities are thriving and flourishing in every aspect of their lives.
How we do that is the big discussion that we've had and that we've been having. But we're going to have communities that, and individuals who are Black in communities that can wake up in the morning and just decide, what am I going to do today? Rather than be thinking about, how do I drive this car and not be stopped? Or be thinking about, how am I going to get the money to do this and to do that and to do the other? The very basic elements that my white friend will wake up in the morning and he doesn't think about none of this because he's part of a society that if he chooses, he can thrive by virtue of the colour of his skin. We need to get that equity. It is a human fundamental right. So the mission, in a snapshot, is moving away from surviving to thriving as Black people.
We exist in a society where the Black experience is one of anti-Black racism, and it's relentless, and it's in every facet of our lives.
Why is it that Black women are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth and maternity? Why is it that Black children are less likely to do well, Caribbean children in particular, at school? Why is it that Black people are less likely to find a job even when they're well qualified? Why is it that Black children are more likely to be excluded from school? Why is it, therefore, that Black people are more likely to be mentally ill? It's not surprising, really, when you think about all the things that people face throughout our lives.
Everywhere you look, the outcomes, almost everywhere you look, the outcomes for Black people are worse than for white people in this country.
Hello, everybody. There's nobody in the room. Hello, everybody. All right. That's how we deal with that. Because this is a we thing, right? It's not an I thing. It's a we thing. So I need to know that you're fully present in the room with me, because this is the journey that we are doing together. Yeah? That's what Black Thrive is about. That's what Catalyst for Change is about. And that's why you're in the room, right?
Right. So much of this, the inspiration behind this, is that you cannot talk about Black Thrive, its conception and its development without speaking about Jackie Dyer, its founder.
So where I'm coming from is actually lived experience. So lived experience in terms of my own mental health challenges, but also in relation to being a carer of 3 siblings with severe mental illness. And 2 of my siblings have passed. One at the age of 41, and in fact, this year is the 10th anniversary of the passing of Carlton Dyer, my baby brother. Oh. Come on.
It is so important if we are to thrive and if we are to look at some of the key elements of the work that we do, some of which is around mental health, and ensuring that racism which causes mental health issues is eliminated so that we can thrive, so that our health is healthy and there's not a mental health issue which, if we are honest about it, the trauma that we faced as Black communities continues.
So this is for all of us who are feeling this, who are living this experience in our families and our networks, and know that actually mental health services have not been fit for purpose for 30, 40 years. My journey has been 30 odd years of this hot mess, right? Nobody giving a diddly squat about whether or not we live or die, but I care, we care, and it's time to transform this situation. so that we can live and thrive and flourish, especially when we're at our most vulnerable, that we're not going with the risk of, actually, we're going to die under mental health service provision. Can you imagine that? That we're not safe, even when we are at our most vulnerable.
When Jackie Dyer had been on the Black Health and Wellbeing Commission, which happened in Lambeth after the murder of Sean Rigg, who's a black musician, that is what led to Black Thrive Lambeth being established. And in terms of the thinking that had gone on and the ideas and the vision, it kind of stemmed from that. There were recommendations from the report. And initially, I think the initial thinking was it was probably about mental health. Why is it that black people with mental are more likely to have mental health issues? Why is it that they're more likely to be killed by the police or by the mental health system and so on? So that was some of the thinking. But I think as the commission did its work, it became clear that it's not about, that's the hard end when things have gone wrong already. So the idea of this is not about just the end when things are badly wrong, but what's happening to black people from birth.
So in Black Thrive Lambeth, we have 5 main overarching work streams. We have communities, we have children, young people and families, we have Black Queer and Thriving, we have CAPSA, which is the culturally appropriate peer support and advocacy service, and the employment scheme. So we have the communities work stream, which is a strategic investment recognizing that the responsive work and support for Lambeth communities doesn't always fit neatly into the work streams that we have. We have the CYPF program, which is the Children, Young People and Families program, which aims to support the social and emotional well-being of Black children, parents, young people and families in Lambeth. Black Queer and Thriving is a program looking to explore the health and well-being experiences of Black LGBTQ+ residents. Ultimately, it will be looking to improve the access, outcomes and experiences of Black LGBTQ+ people in mental health systems. We also have the CAPSA, which is the Culturally Appropriate Peer Support and Advocacy Service. And that is a partnership between Black Thrive Lambeth and the Lambeth Living Well Alliance. This supports with a range of mental health, social care and access needs through peer support and advocacy with a commitment to race equity. We also have the employment program, which seeks to support Black Lambeth residents with long-term health conditions to gain meaningful employment. You cannot have Black Thrive without co-production. Co-production is the foundation of Black Thrive. So one way that Black Thrive has really looked to connect with the community is through the development of working groups, which are spaces, voluntary spaces, where us as an organisation can connect with local people who are affected by an issue, whether it be around employment and long-term conditions, or those who are Black and LGBTQ+, get them in a room and start the conversation about what their needs are.
And there's been so much successes in Lambeth that we couldn't leave it just at Lambeth. The circumstances that Black people find themselves in Lambeth is mirrored all over the country and in different parts of the world.
There was a responsibility and accountability to our Black population wherever they're located, that whatever we're developing in Lambeth, we need to bring on board the rest of the country and in fact the rest of the globe.
So it was really important to get the Thriving Collective established, and we've started with Birmingham and with Haringey to expand upon the work that's been done with Lambeth.
So the Thriving Futures Collective was established primarily to spread the work of what we were doing in Black Thrive Lambeth and recognising that there was a need to bring others on board located across the country.
Okay, so let's jump straight in and remind you, what is Black Thrive Haringey about? Well, our mission, we exist to embed race equity in systematic change so that thriving for Black people is the norm in Haringey. And actually, we're not just worried about Haringey because we've got other Black Thrives. And you're going to hear about that in the moment. But obviously, because we stand in the wonderful borough of Haringey, this is what our business is about.
The other thing that's really important for Black Thrive is that
Not just that we want the community to lead maybe what we do and tell us what the priorities are in any given area, but we also want the community to be able to come up with some of the solutions. So part of what we do is also assist people in that. So it might be that they have an idea and we will use our innovation pot to support that idea and be their kind of backbone to get that idea off the ground. We have at Black Thrive Haringey an innovation pot, which means that if people from the community come to us with a brilliant idea that is going to help our Black community thrive, then we will explore that. In Haringey, we've got really high levels of unemployment, particularly our 18 to 24-year-olds in the borough. We've also got a lot of issues with young people, and that is not really knowing what happens to them after they finish school. A lot of them don't go on to college and university. So somebody came to us with the idea of a barbershop project where they would teach young people how to barber. That would mean that they would have a skill that they could set up their own business. We liked the idea. We also knew that there were a lot of young people who had probably dropped out of education, maybe were at risk of being involved in criminality, and thought it would be a really good idea to test out this barbering shop project idea. And just to say about the histories of barbershops, because when Mark came to us with this idea, it wasn't just that it was a good idea, it's just that we all know how important barbershops are to our community. Since the 19th century, beauty salons and barbershops have served as a special place for the Black community. They have been places not only to get your hair done, but locations where Black people could be vulnerable and talk about issues that they may be facing.
The barberings carried me from the 90s until 2020, and it's never left me. My mental health is good. Everything is running smooth. You know what? I want to teach them. The other young people can benefit from this.
But the history is also comes out of our history. So after the Civil War in America, the barbershop offered economic mobility to Black entrepreneurs.
They can set up have a skill, a life skill. No one can't take it away from them. You can still have your 9-to-5 job, do what you're doing, but you can lose a job. The only way you're going to lose a skill is if you take it away from yourself. All the candidates, yeah, I'm extremely proud of all of you. It's been a hectic journey, but everyone that's made it has done their absolute best. I've seen you all evolve. I've seen you bring out some new talents, new skills, develop yourself personally, and I commend you. Thank you very much for your hard work and your efforts.
The other thing that's really important for the whole of Black Thrive is storytelling. And that is really important, that not only do we ask the community to lead what we do, but we also want to hear the stories of the community that bring to life some of the statistics and evidence about how people live in a place like Haringey.
What's standing up on good? We'd like to see like 18, 17 minutes of that or well in the past 10 years.
My name is Shocker. I'm an artist from North London, Tottenham, Broadwater Farm specifically. I'm here because I've actually got a film in this whole piece today. And with Black Thrive, we put a film together, a documentary on my life, 18-minute documentary. It's got, I like to describe it as the rise, the fall, and the comeback. So it's got the rise of my group, the fall when my group break up, and I get sectioned, and the come. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah.
We need to, like, literally show this story, because what you've done is create a situation that, especially young people, music can look at you and think, right, I can have something today, and this can happen to me. They can watch your story, relate to it, and in other words, prepare for what could go wrong.
It's a great pleasure to see you all here today. So thank you so much for coming out to our second assembly here at the MAT. We've got a packed programme for you. We're going to get you talking to each other and to us. You're going to hear about the work that we've been doing, and you're going to also hear from some amazing women who are activists, who have made some significant changes in the way in which mental health services are being delivered, not just in Birmingham, not just in the West Midlands, but also nationally. So you're in for a treat.
We have a collective commitment to the Black Thrive agenda. You know, we share a lot of similarities with the Black Thrive agenda. We had already had those as kind of part of our agenda as well. So then the marriage was pretty natural. We also are paying respect to my cousin today, a man called Mikey Powell, who was killed by the police in 2003. And because of Mikey's death, I moved back to Birmingham from London. I'd been living in London for almost 3 decades. And I often say this, and it's true. Catalyst would not exist today had it not been for that tragedy.
Our mission is to ensure that African and Caribbean people get the right care at the right time at the right place. And in order to ensure that that happens, that we have to do work with some systems, a range of systems. And Black Thrive's work, well, the Thriving Futures focus is about systems change and tackling some of the systemic inequalities that prevent African and Caribbean people getting the right care at the right time in the right place. So, as Tipper said, the connection between Black Thrive and Catalyst was a natural marriage.
The partnership allows us the opportunity to learn from each other, and Jackie Dyer whispered that into my ear today about, you know, remember to learn together. If it's been done else, it's in Lambeth, or if it's been done in Haringey, how can we learn and share? And I think that is the beauty of this kind of collaboration, is there's a real opportunity to learn from each other for our communities.
It's the lived experiences, whatever it looks like, that drives us, yeah? And it's not about us, let's be clear. This is not about Catalyst, it's about the community.
So we're going to start with the Black Thrive Haringey's mission. That's just to remind you, what is Black Thrive? What are we trying to achieve? So that when you see the work that we've been doing, you can check out whether you think it speaks to our mission as Black Thrive Haringey.
Community assembly is really a coming together of the community, letting them know exactly what we're doing and what we've done throughout the year, the work that we're currently doing, and what the road that lays ahead in the forthcoming year looks like.
So we have 3 questions here, so let me just say them to you, because maybe you can sit down with somebody over lunch and discuss them together. What are the 3 main issues you face as a community member in Haringey? What would you like to see Black Haringey do more of? Maybe you can come up with some funding as well, because there is only 3 of us. Yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. If you or your family member were experiencing poor mental health, what would you do? Yeah, really important that we understand that, because it might be that people don't know where to go when they face mental health.
I think a successful community assembly is really about addressing the concerns of the community, getting them to understand that, you know, these are the areas that we're looking into, these are the areas that we want to work with, and with their support, you know, we can make some very good headway.
Our communities go through a lot of challenges and issues in their everyday life, so it is important for us to create a space, whether that be annually, to obviously bring them in and let them kind of celebrate, and it be a nice day so they can take that good experience away.
Also, you know, to network, to socialize, to eat some nice food, to listen to some good music, and to really just everybody to put faces to names.
That's a good vibe. There's a lot of people that turned up to support. Good food, good laughs, good talks, good people, man.
It was incredible. It was amazing, and I hope it gets better and better and it spreads out more and more people in the community find out about it. And I just wish all the blessings upon this event.
What we're going to invite you to do is to actually have a conversation at your table about what do you understand holding systems to account to mean.
The importance of a community assembly is to be within the community, hear what the community is saying, exchanging views. Today, for instance, there's loads of data that's come through. We've heard from community individuals, community organisations, that it's not a fragmented approach in a community assembly. Everybody has a voice, and it's how we galvanise that and use the information that we've got to make a difference. It's a two-way conversation that builds partnership, it builds, you know what I mean, builds hope, builds everything, and you can feel the energy in the room as people realise that's what this is about.
And we're excited about all the information, that data, that we will then be kind of reflecting on it, hopefully with people that were there today and our members, to think about, what do we take forward, and inviting people to be part of that journey with us to, take forward some of those ideas. There's a lot of assets and talents and knowledge and expertise in the room. And, it's important for us to value that, acknowledge that, and invite that to be part of the change that we all want to see.
And when we say systems change, what exactly do we mean when we use the concept of systems? We're talking about everything that makes up the infrastructure of a society. So we think about education, employment, housing, the criminal justice system. All these are components of a society that has been oppressive in relation to the Black experience. How racism operates in policies, procedures, cultures, values of organizations. It's in the DNA of every single institution and organization. So if you don't see that, name it, how are you going to make it any different than what it is?
We do this not just for our ancestors. We do this for our generations to come.
So what we mean by community-led systems change is the community deciding what is important, that the system needs to change. Not the system saying, this is important, and then coming to the community. It's the community saying, this is what we think is important, and this is what we need to see changed in the way in which you deliver services.
We cannot allow to be done unto. So what we're watching, I'm certainly watching, is this top-down approach and then they give it out to us and tell us this is what we've done around peak rate. Nonsense. And then we don't know which of us, if any of us, have been consulted on that. We've got to stop this, people. We have got to get the information, know what's going on, and act.
When systems and institutions try to engage or engage with communities, it's a very sort of performatory piece. So when we're doing this with communities, you're getting the answers because you're working with people's lived experience, their lived expertise. That's the piece, it's their lived expertise that is giving the answers, and they're working with an organization that is authentic, that people that have the values, some of whom have that lived experience, that lived expertise, and are working with and alongside. When that is taking place within institutions, that's not to write it off because it's important, but the importance of Black-led organizations co-producing with communities cannot be underestimated.
So one of the other potentialities that we want to develop and continue to develop and evolve is how do we support using our research, Black Thrive Global Research Institute and Observatory, and our Leadership Academy to support the works that we are doing.
Research support, we provide facilitating training, facilitating sessions like focus group discussions, and facilitating data clubs, and supporting any research-related support for localities.
The Research Institute was developed in order to try to tackle these problems. It's to bring high quality, robust research, which is led by Black people and supported by and for Black communities in order to create the evidence that we need to make systems change. When Celestine came up with the idea that we can build a Black-led research institute and observatory, it was on the basis that, which Jackie, myself and David and others already were saying, there is no, the evidence is flawed. Everybody talks about evidence-based policy, evidence-based practice, and so on, but it's not working for us. This is not working for us. It's not working for Black people. So therefore, what is it that's the problem? And it's like the evidence, if you look at the evidence, it's either not including Black people's experiences, not including data about us, or the data is there and misinterpreted. Thinking about this in terms of systems change, evidence for policy, etc., there are a range of competing interests. Some of them are about the researcher, what they're interested in, what their limitations are in terms of their kind of lived experience, what they think is important by way of a research question. But there are also issues related to what policymakers want. And as I talked about earlier, we have this kind of desire to have evidence-based policy. But often what's actually happening is we're getting policy-based evidence. So this is a scenario where you decide up front what you want to happen. You want X intervention, and then you are looking for evidence to support that particular intervention.
I think the other thing is understanding that there's lots of information already about the Black community wherever you are, but a lot of that paints Black people as either the victims of their situation, or it actually blames them for the situation that they're in, as if everybody starts with an equal chance, and that there's equity in our society. So it kind of blames people for not achieving, not being able to gain the things that they might see their white counterpart achieve. And what we wanted to do was to look at that data and really get an understanding about why we're not achieving, why we're not thriving. And that is why part of our work, kind of dismantling that data that is already out there and having a look at it through a Black lens, is really important.
I think Black communities have been really keen on the work that we're doing and want to be empowered with data and evidence and research. We have really been strengthened by the community, I would say, to kind of continue this work and to accelerate the work that we're doing, because people find it valuable in the sense of having a solid foundation from which to advocate for something new and something different.
The Black Thrive Leadership Academy is a tool that was developed as part of the Black Communities Driving Change, Thriving Futures program area. And the thought behind the Leadership Academy was, how can we create talent pipelines for Black individuals either wanting to work in the systems or already work in the systems to better frame race equity within their work, but also to equip them with some tools, skills, and strategy to better further a systems change agenda.
Our Leadership Academy, which is around looking at Black leaders in the system and getting them together and really exploring the kind of leadership that allows them to hold a mirror up to themselves and who am I as a leader? Why am I doing this? What is my individual noble cause? What collectively are we trying to achieve as one piece? The second piece, how then do we navigate the system? What is the kind of leadership that's required?
When we thought about the Leadership Academy, we always knew that it was going to be a resource that we provided externally, not just to Black-led organisations, but also to ally organisations that are also trying to do systems change and race equity work.
And we equip our Black Thrive, our leaders, our Black African, our Black Caribbean leaders, wherever they're located in the system. They could be in local authority, they could be in local government, they could be in health services, they could be in the voluntary and community sector, they could be in the private sector. How are we equipping them to collectively work with us on this agenda from wherever they're located?
So one of the key things with Black Thrive Global and the dream, I think, was that we shouldn't be the only ones. That this is about different black communities in all its many shapes and sizes and all the different identities being able to have a voice and determine what would work for them.
We got this space to carry out our mission because people from before us paved the way. So we always have to ensure that we also have the responsibility to open up the space for others to grow as well. So we need to collaborate with each other. We need to support each other.
We're not going to achieve freedom and equality and justice by thinking we can do this thing on our own. You know, we have to partner, we have to collaborate. We have to partner, we have to collaborate with other black-led organisations.
The criticism made of black organisations is that we don't work together. So we need to prove people wrong. And we do need to come together if we're really going to make an impact on the issues that we've been experiencing in this country for far too long.
And how do we build that ethical allyship which shows white people their responsibility in being led? And actually the genius of what they can do is about educating their communities around being anti-racist, and those leaders in those communities who sit in those high seats where decisions are being made to do that which is necessary to ensure that we are, as a society and as humanity, achieving that vision. Because it's not right that we're still in 2023 having the conversation about just surviving, or maybe we should be thriving. It's not good enough. So we need a level of intentional purpose and a non-performatory approach to actually achieving that, which Black Thrive, and if you're speaking about Black Thrive, other organisations as well, is seeking to achieve.
To be honest, there's a long way to go. So it's great, we should pat ourselves on the back that we've come so far and say, yes, we've done well to have got here in the face of adversity. But it's not enough. And moving forward, what we have to do is continue to have hope. Not hope, belief and knowledge that we will win. I often use my involvement in the anti-apartheid movement as an example of when I joined the anti-apartheid movement in 1986, I didn't know that apartheid would end. I didn't know that Mandela would be released from prison, and never mind that he would become president. And that has embedded in me a knowledge, not a hope, a knowledge that change is possible. And so I would say that if there was one achievement that I think we could really land, is ensuring that black people know that change will happen. It's only a question of how long and how perhaps and what the route is, but that change will happen. Because in a way, the biggest power that people who don't want that change is robbing you of a belief. If they succeed in making us believe that it's not possible, then we've lost. So we have to know that it's possible and take concrete and practical steps towards that. And in a way, I think that's what Black Thrive Global is about. I think that's what Thriving Futures is about. It's about we have a right to live happy and fulfilled lives in whatever sphere we have. We have a right to be different and have our own identities within blackness. And we have a right to hold our heads up high. There's no way that all of that can be done by just Black Thrive. It is about Black Thrive in partnership and in acknowledgement and in respectful community with the people, black people everywhere, and the white allies, and other organisations who want the same thing. And I'm absolutely certain that we will win.